Welcome to the Public Image webinar for November. We are so excited to have Felicia bring some of her cohorts from the Pittsburgh area to talk to us about creating those relationships in public image. So I am here. My name is Billy Black. I am the Zone 33 Regional Rotary Coordinator. And no, I'm not the Regional Rotary Coordinator. I'm the Regional Public Image Coordinator. I'm so focused on Susan. Susan is Zone 34. Same thing I am, whatever it is I am. And on our team, we are pleased to introduce the rest of the team from Zone 34. Sean Patty is the magic behind the scenes. You don't usually see him in any of these, but he makes the magic happen. He's from the islands, so welcome him. Caroline is here from Zone 34. And Marshall Butler is not here, but he has moved over from being the RPIC to being the communications coordinator. So we're very excited that we're moving into a whole new era. And then in Zone 33, we have Dawn Rochelle, and we have Hamilton, and I don't see Taylor. Nope.
Joining late.
Okay, so Taylor will be coming on a little later, and we're missing Chris Justice. He's working with his club tonight. We're missing Mike Wallstrom. He is on baby duty, and Amanda Groover will also not be available. So you see, we have a lot of people missing. So we made a command decision that we're going to move from what we call Membership Mondays, which is typically MAP and things like that on Mondays, to a Tuesday. So starting in January, watch for Tuesday. January 23rd, we're going to have a presentation on AI and Chat GPT. And if you don't know what that is, you'll need to tune in. And Susan is going to send a broadcast out to everybody. So tune in for those. Caroline's going to talk about her little project that's going on the website. Caroline.
Hello, everybody. Glad you could join us tonight. So I'm actually talking, I'll give you like a rough overview of elevaterotary.org. That is a website from the Zone 33 and 34. So if you go, we have a navigation, and important things to remember is probably your calendar. You want to check the calendar on a regular basis. There's a lot of great information on there. You have a useful link section where you will probably want to have a look at the Public Image Toolkit, because that Public Image Toolkit has some really cool stuff. I just recently, I made everybody laugh with little GIF things. The Public Image Tool will be showing you, or will give you the link where you can find that. The other things that you can have if you missed your Rotary magazine, I don't know how many people are missing it. I hope nobody, but if you don't have it and you miss a edition, there is a link to that. Webinar archives, we got all the webinar, the archives in one place. So if you missed a presentation, you can always go and check it out afterwards. The only thing that's different with the archive is you cannot actively contribute. Like today, you can actively ask us questions and go to the chat box and all that good stuff. In the recognition navigation, you'll find a whole bunch of other great stuff. And you probably, after you went through the website, will go to the recognition most of the time. You go the PI citation status, you want to see how your club has been performing, how many citations have been, or how many tasks have been completed. We have also the district challenge, and Don will touch on that a little bit more. Be a district champion. We're looking for artwork. Go for it. Let's those creative juices going. So we have a really cool presentation on Facebook and social medias. And then, of course, archives. You want to see how your club performed in the past, how your club did. Go to the archives and just click, type in your club's name. If you have any problems, we are always available, and there is a contact area. You can click the contact area and ask away. Don't be afraid to be in touch with us. And maybe it'll take a day or so because we are quite busy people, but we will definitely get back to you. And I think my 3 minutes are pretty much up with that. So great. So I will turn it over to Dawn, which will talk a little bit more about the tasks, which are really cool to do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Caroline. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here tonight. You could have been anywhere on this Monday after Thanksgiving, Cyber Monday. And we have some links that are in the chat. So if you haven't checked the chat out, Susan is putting them in there so you can quickly link to them. I'm going to talk specifically about recognizing you. At least 288 unique clubs have completed at least one task for the public image citation. And I think we all need to give a round of applause for that. That's huge, right? Many times in Rotary, we will do the work. We're doing the work. We're excelling in the work. The citation is actually a way for you to connect and to show, hey, this is great. We're doing even more than we thought we were in some cases. And in some cases, it's like, oh, shoot, I was going to do that. The citation is really the roadmap. And there's a link to the citation status once again. It's in your chat. And I really want you to check it out. One of the things that I think all of us has found with public image is people want to help. They want to do all the things, but they're not exactly sure how. And despite all of the content that's available in the Learning Center on Rotary.org, sometimes you just need it tactically laid out. We had a deadline. That was November 15th to reach that cutoff point for the Rotary, to get all of the points, the platinum level. Congratulations to those that did in your clubs. But you can still go for the next level if you weren't able to complete it. Whatever happened, life happens. But we really want you to start now because it really sets your club up for succession, and it also recognizes what you're doing now. The same for the district level citation. We want you to not only work through that within your own clubs, but we also want you to help your district really achieve sometimes their first district public image team, or to really vet out the role and what is it we need. Maybe you've got a public image chair that's been serving a long time that needs to change over. Bring them into the process to be able to really help you to celebrate being a district leader within our zones. And then, of course, we also have a social media. You'll find it there as well. There is a social media cover art contest that's going on. Sometimes that little extra challenge to learn something else in Canva and be able to celebrate also sort of helps the process along. So again, as Caroline said, please reach out. We are greater when we all work together. All of us are just trying to do the best in the world that we can do, and we're here to help you to celebrate your work and the work of Rotary. So with that, I get to introduce our speaker tonight, Felicia. Felicia happens to be the district governor nominee. And Felicia, remind me of your district. It's in Pennsylvania, 7305.
No reminding necessary.
Woo! But one of the things you will be delighted with is her energy and her can-do attitude to be able to connect to this work in Rotary and serving our communities with public image contacts. So with that, Felicia, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I really appreciate it. I am so excited to be here with you guys today, but I'm not here by myself. I have two of the best people in Pittsburgh that I brought along with me. If possible, can we highlight them because they are awesome? Whoever's in control, John and Rachel. John Chamberlain. Rachel, help me pronounce your last name. Oh, you got to unmute yourself.
Yep, we got it. Rennebeck.
Rennebeck. I've never said her name out loud. Have
You're fine.
that happened to anybody else before? But John and Rachel are big people out here in the Pittsburgh area. So all of you, if you can do me a huge favor just to help me out. John and Rachel are not Rotarians. They are familiar with Rotary, but they don't know how far we are. So if you could put in the chat where you're jumping on, where you're logging on from, so they can at least see like what state you're in or what, but again, what country are you coming from, or what Caribbean area are you in. But please put in the chat so they can see where all they get to reach at. But John and Rachel are the owners of Jagoff Media. And you know what? I will not do it enough justice. I can just tell you from where I sit at, they're on the radio, they're on the internet. And when I think about the internet, they're blogging, they're doing live videos, feeds, they're doing everything and anything you can think of. Just coming up soon, they're doing a parade that's not even a parade, but it's a parade. And I'm just going to ask you all to look up Jagoff Media and just start learning all about them. John and Rachel, could you add a little bit more about who you guys are and why you're here with me today?
Sure. I think we're muted.
No, you're not.
Oh, good. That's how good we are at technology. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Thank you so much, Felicia. We certainly appreciate the intro. We actually met Felicia at a Pittsburgh Media Partnership meeting about 3 years ago. And what that is, I have a background in journalism. Felicia has some journalism background. John and I created a media company through the art of podcasting about 8 years ago. And we met there with the intention of finding out, is Pittsburgh welcoming? That was the initial sort of mission that all of these different Pittsburgh media entities were gathering. And very quickly, we learned that there was a bigger mission, which was, the face of journalism is dying, just like so many other unfortunate sectors. And, how do we kind of come together and be helpful resources to each other to sustain the news delivery business? And so from that meeting, and obviously meeting Felicia, John and I have grown a small media or marketing company, marketing and PR, into a mid-sized media company utilizing various platforms. We learned very quickly that although, we sure look young, we're not millennials. And there are so many millennials who are offering services like marketing and PR. And those are our backgrounds from a different traditional venue, so to speak. I come from the newspaper industry and then went to marketing. John was a VP of marketing. And we connected when I was at an agency in 2016, where we had very like ideas of essentially thinking outside the box. And from that, I decided to leave the company and pursue my own opportunities. And a year later, we partnered and have about 20 to 25 clients who we retain monthly for social media management. And essentially, social media can be the devil, as we all know. So we've sort of made it our jobs, our mission, to really educate people on how you can utilize it for the good, for socialization, keeping in touch, positivity versus negativity, and how you can utilize it as a platform for businesses. And that's essentially how we grew our brand. And so then once social media was in play, and as we were older and learning the power of social media, we realized that the sky was the limit as far as what else could we be doing from a social media perspective. And that led to video production. As Felicia said, we do blogging, we produce podcasts, we are on the radio, we do a lot of community collaboration, but most importantly, we are content creators. I came in when you were speaking about AI. That was one of the first things that, we feared when we heard of this new thing coming in. And we thought, how are we going to embrace this new technology that could essentially put us out of business? And the reality is that if we can continue with unique content management and really remaining relatable to companies and figuring out what their goals are, we will be okay. So John, do you want to talk about why you jag off?
Yeah, so the term jag off is not a swear word, we promise. It is a term you call somebody who might cut you off as you're driving, but it also, from a Pittsburghese standpoint, it is a term you might say when you see Felicia in the airport, or I see one of you at the North Carolina airport and say, "Hey, how have you been, you jag off?" And it is really a term of endearment. That's the positivity we've taken. Our podcast and all of our the radio show, the videos that we make are all very positive about Pittsburgh. And so it is not a swear word. We actually, as crazy it might seem, there you may know that there's turf wars between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. We have clients in Cleveland and we have clients in Kansas City. but mainly our content is geared towards the Western Pennsylvania area. But again, we do expand. We did expand to Cleveland and Kansas City as far as having clients who are not afraid of the phrase, and they understand what the phrase is as far as being a term of endearment. So that's our summary.
All right. Thank you so much for that summary, guys. I'm so excited to have you guys in here. And one of the things you said was about journalism, how it could be dying. And I think that's what we're here to talk about now with Rotary, because Rotary, everybody's scared. They don't want their club to die, their club message to die, their service projects to die. And we need to be able to get everybody to keep us alive. How do we do that? Well, that's why we're here today. And we're going to talk about branding, brand and marketing. I know some of you may have heard me talk about this before. I'm going to, can you see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? Yes. That's my thing about John. I was pulling them up. Hold on. What screen are you seeing? Because I cannot tell.
We're seeing keeping it simple.
Yes, everybody. Okay, so I like to go by coach. Everybody do me a favor, type coach in the chat so I know you know what to call me when you reach out to me. There are 3 things I like to talk about. So I think when you think about what Rachel and John were talking about when it came down to journalism and being scared that AI is going to take them out of business. Well, what are we scared of about with Rotary? That things may take us out of business on that end, right? So how do we increase our impact in the world? We have to understand 3 things: brand, branding, and marketing. So what is brand? Feel free to put it in the chat. Tell me what you think what brand is. And Rachel and John, you are going to be the ones who are going to answer every question I put out there. So what is brand? When we talk about branding and we want to tell people to increase their impact, and when I'm talking about increase your impact, Rotary has this master plan. It's called the Rotary Action Plan. It's a strategic way of getting ourselves out there and making sure that we don't fade away. We want people to want to come to Rotary, want to stay with us. So we need to know, let's start at the very beginning. How do we increase our impact? We increase our impact by helping people understand who we are and what we're doing. So when you think it's 3 things, brand, branding, and marketing, what is brand? Rachel, John, you want to give me your idea of what that is?
I mean, you pretty much said it. Brand is the identification of who you are. It's the overall message of what you are portraying. That is your brand.
Right. So when I look at John and Rachel, I think when they're not in a room, I think fun. I think excitement. I get excited when I see them because I know they're going to bring me something that's going to tell me information about something going on in their world, information of something going around in my area, but it's always fun and it's entertaining and it's informative. When we think about Rotary, what is our brand? Please feel free to put that in the chat. And if somebody sees something that's really good, please stop and tell me about it, because I'm not reading all the chats right now, but I would love for us to keep it in there. But brand is what people are saying about you. This picture right here is one of my favorite pictures because it's showing the projects that we do. That's our brand. It's the project. When people are thinking about projects, do they think Kiwanis? Do they think Lions? Or are they thinking, oh my goodness, something happened in the community and a Rotary came in and did it? That's the feeling you're getting from a brand. Now, branding, what is branding?
Can we go back to brand for 1 minute?
Oh, yes.
No, I could give you a Rotary answer in that I used to be a part of the Pittsburgh Club, which meets in the downtown Pittsburgh area. And that meant a lot of people worked in the downtown area, but did not live in the downtown area. So the Pittsburgh Club was noted to sort of be this hoity-toity club because it cost you a lot of money to park. And then it costs you a lot of money to get lunch and be a member of it and all that kind of stuff. But that was the brand it had. And it was unfortunate because there was a lot of work being done, but nobody lived in downtown. So the brand was sort of missing because everybody did a lot of good work, but we weren't known for anything because, a Rotary Club in, some rural or suburban area, they're associated to the school district, they're associated to the companies in there. And the downtown club had a brand problem in that it was just this older high-end club that just got together. And really, what else did they do? So part of the imaging we had to do was change around and say, well, we have to find some kind of very high and high visibility projects so that it increased our brand as to what we were, other than just this sort of bunch of people who gathered together every Wednesday, paid a lot of money to park and paid a lot of money to eat and hang out. So our brand at that point was not so good. So we changed. Going to your next, we had to do some branding to change what people thought about the brand.
And I love that you shared that. How many of you, and I would love to see a show of hands right now. I want you to put your hand in front of your screen. How many of you put your hand up in front of your screen right now? And I want you to give me 5 fingers, right? Give me 5 fingers. If you don't have 5, this was not, I'm sorry, this is supposed to be an inclusive exercise, my bad. But I want you to do me a favor, okay? Put a finger down if you feel that your club brand is not, well, is poorly seen in your community. Put a finger down if you feel that your branding in your club is negative with the youth, meaning your youth do not know who you are. Put a finger down if you believe that your government in your area does not know who you are. Some of you are having a hard time. Feel free to use your other hand to pull the fingers down. Okay, so that for your community, your government, and your youth. Put a finger down if your club members do not have a good feeling about your club. They wouldn't go out and talk positive about your club. Okay, so I see a lot of people that only have maybe 1 or 2 fingers up. So that means there is a brand issue within your club. So right now, that's where I would start at the very beginning. How do we increase our impact in our community? We have to start right now with educating our club. Like, hey, what is our brand? How does everybody believe who we are? How we're seen? Okay, branding. Let's go to branding. What is branding? John or Rachel, remember, you're in a hot seat. Or should I pick on Billy this time?
Sorry, I thought
We're
you were
fine.
giving
Yeah,
him a chance to answer first.
Yeah, let's go. Let me put Billy in the hot seat. What is branding?
Wow, I think branding is the act of creating your brand. In other words, making sure everybody knows who you are.
Right. So when you're thinking about branding, so we know brand is what people already think about us, right? Branding is, okay, when we're looking at these logos, your website, things like that, those are like hard things that say, hey, this is who we are. This is our branding. When they see it everywhere, that's why when you see a logo, you automatically think of something, or you hear a jingle, you automatically think of something. That is the branding. So brand is how people think of us when we're not around, right? Remember, this is branding. We're out there, we're people of action. Well, no one's going to care we're people of action. Right? Once they see who we are, then they're going to care about, okay, well, tell me who are those people out there doing it, right? So people are going to care who you are once they see you doing something, once they have a good feeling about who you are, they're going to want to know more about you. Show me, do you have the proper logos? Do you have the proper branding? I love what Dawn was talking about with the accountability that everybody gets to go ahead and be a part of the social media contest that we have out there right now. These are the things that will help you keep that branding fresh. But what's marketing? I'm going to throw this back at Rachel. What's marketing?
So marketing is the manner in which, everyone has a different message. We say this so often to our clients. Our trades who we work with regularly are completely different than UPMC Step Medevac. And you have to really hone in on what marketing is appropriate for who your audience is. And I think that that's the disconnect a lot of times with people, is that companies hire organizations and people to deliver marketing based on a flat, you can just kind of make me better. And I think you really have to spend a good bit of the time. I've had a lot of conversations recently with some PR firms, especially because I do think PR and marketing go hand in hand in some way. But we've spent a lot of time saying that a lot of people have upped the amount of time that it takes to kind of really get that relationship going, because that has to be the key first. It's the relationship that you build with the customer to find out exactly what is your messaging, what are your goals, what are you trying to get across, who is your audience, what has worked in the past, what have you even tried before, what are you not willing to try. And once all of those things are sort of met, then you sort of create this campaign. So it's almost like adding another layer. So from a marketing strategy standpoint, I think that we've learned, especially through COVID, the importance of how marketing isn't just this blanket thing. There's so many different, what would I say, not levels, but, resources. Yeah, whatever.
Pathways,
Yeah,
yeah.
pathways. A lot of people think if you just do some commercials on television, that's marketing. Oh, I've run a radio campaign, that's marketing. That is true. It can be one part of a marketing strategy, but marketing is the continuation and the execution of what works best for you. And that could be a culmination of things. It could be one thing, but as we evolve and as technology gets better and better, I think it's very apparent that there are so many different pieces that connect to mean marketing. But the overall statement is to basically get your message out in the most informative manner.
And we like to say marketing is the paid version of this, right? As Rachel
Sure.
alluded to, there's public relations, PR, and there's marketing. Public relations is free marketing, but you're at the whim of whatever happens. And we can go into that later, but marketing is paid advertising. And if you think about it, what Southwest Airlines marketed all the time, they were a funny place to hang out. They wanted you to just enjoy the trip. But think about, like, if you're not ready to execute the marketing, what the marketing says, how disappointed people are. How disappointed were you when you got on a Southwestern Airlines flight and they were miserable? Or, everybody has a bad day, but so marketing has to be consistent with your activities. And so you can't say we have the best customer service in the world and then have crappy attitudes on the phone when you're answering the phone. So the marketing is the way you say what you're doing, and then there has to be consistency in what you're actually doing. So you can't say, hey, Rotary, we're this cool, diverse club of people, professionals, blah, 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 blah. And if you're not, then, people will see that it's not. It has to be consistent. What you're doing has to be consistent with the marketing that you're doing.
Perfect. So for us to go with the Rotary Action Plan, the very first thing we have to do is increase our impact. The only way we can increase our impact is making sure that we all understand who we are and what we do. And so what we're doing right now is we're educating us all. We know the difference between branding, and marketing. Brand, that's that feeling. And immediately the first thing you're going to do is all about relationships. What is the feeling you're putting out from your clubs and out there? We already figured out, hey, do we have a connection with our youth? Do we have a connection with our government? Do we have a connection with our members? How is that? Branding is all of our marketing pieces, all of our logos, our website, and all that other stuff is doing well. Marketing, okay, now how are we getting the message out there? How are we engaging with our youth? How are we engaging with our members? How are we engaging? Like John just said, is this Southwest had a crappy experience. They're not gonna want to stay with you. So do you have a great experience? Are you engaging? Are you building that relationship? We must reach out. And just the biggest thing out of all this, you have to be a solution. Do me a favor, write this down. Everything you do moving forward right now, you have to keep thinking, and even if you want to, take your phone out and take a picture of this. Be a solution. That's your whole goal when you think of your publicity plan. You're looking to be a solution to whatever you're trying to get out. All right, so that was the very first thing that we talked about, right? With the Rotary Action Plan, which is the impact. The next part of the action plan is expanding our reach. So how are we going to expand our reach? We're now educated, right? With understanding what branding and marketing is, right? So now we must expand our reach. Rachel said it earlier, just putting it out there on the radio, is that really expanding your reach? Is it really getting your message out there? Right now, so many people are saying, I have a Facebook page. We're going to put it on Facebook, and then that's where we're going to get everybody. We don't want to do that, right? We want to do more than just that. So expanding our reach is just understanding the value of not only social media, but also understanding how to get it in multiple places. And I wanted to point out, Leah Craig, when I asked for branding, you did it perfectly. Thank you so much for putting that in the chat. That was on point. But I want you guys now to write in the chat, how would you expand your reach? Thinking more and beyond social media. Put it in the chat. And very nice, Shane. I read your easy way to think about this. Brand is creating, brand is perception, marketing is set of strategies. Very nice. This is how we are going to increase our impact by understanding that. All right. How are we going to expand our reach? Present at community gatherings. So that's a good one. We can do things in person. Brian said that. Let's see, John, identifying Rotary in all of our projects. So that's making sure that we're putting some type of branding on our projects. Person-to-person contact. Again, discover Rotary, doing any type of in-person works out. Newspaper, getting it into community involved. Brand consistency. Well, give me more than that, Dawn, because I'm saying expanding your reach, that's in our being brand consistent, but where are you putting this at? How are you going to get it out there? Just, I can sit here and be at home and make sure that our website right, our newsletter's right, but if we don't actually be people of action and putting it out there, that's where we're going to fall short. Wearing our logo more. Okay, yes. Good. More projects. Is everybody else reading these chats? These are great. More projects impact more persons. Traditional media works well. So sum this all up is we have to look at it from multiple points. If you sit there and say, I'm only going to post on Facebook, well, you're reaching Facebook audience. John and Rachel are not just, they started their whole journey with a question. And from that question, they said, let's go on to a podcast. And from a podcast, they went on to radio. From a radio, now they even have another form of a radio thing. It's like it's an event, late night with your Jagoff. I went to it the other night. I sat down. I saw a live entertainment. I saw several different people talking. It wasn't just one conversation. It was entertainment live on the radio too. But they were also broadcasting it through a video. They also took pieces of that video and put it in different multiple places. They didn't just stay stagnant. They didn't just stay with one. I like the whole CEO. Someone wrote down understanding CEO, programming, community involvement, direct mail. That's another one, direct mail. Do we still do that? But it's branching away with just valuing only social media. It's taking time out to hit podcasts, television, radio, newspaper, hitting all the channels. If you have an event that you want to do, make sure everyone knows about it. Write a press release. Send it to every newspaper, every radio station, everyone you can think of, because you're proud of being Rotary. You want people, when they walk outside and they see that line of people handing out coats, you want them to think, oh, those are Rotary people. You want that to be the first thing they think of. But they can't think of it in your community unless you get that word out. So Rotary action plan. First thing was increasing our reach by education. Second thing was expanding our reach by using multiple channels, not just one channel. Traditional media, non-traditional media. Now everything's traditional. I'm doing podcasts. I'm doing newspaper. I'm doing TV interviews. You name it. I'm getting it all out there. But what's next on the action plan? It's enhanced participant engagement. How do you get everyone involved with this? How do you get your club members involved? I want you to put it in the chat. How would you get your club members to know that we need to do more than one channel? More than one way of getting the information out. How would you do that? Look, how is the chat going to be quiet? There we go. We got one in there. Invite them to give suggestions. Right. What happens when you invite someone to give a suggestion? Does anybody want to unmute and say something? Shayna. Shayna, I'm going to go ahead and have you unmute. Or I don't know if she can. Put it in the chat for me. When you invite someone to engage with you, what do you believe happens at that point? When you ask them, here's another one. When you ask them to be part of a project, what do you think happens? When you ask them, when you say face to face, I'm just going to read your comments because they're gorgeous. They're perfect. When you ask someone to be a part of your project, when you talk to them personally, you are making them feel, Leah said it perfectly, included. Dawn, ask them the lead of marketing. Ooh, you're asking me to do a lot, Dawn. I'm just started. When you ask them the lead of marketing for a project, the outcome, so they become, I like the end of that, engaged and excited. Because sometimes when you go and tell them, hey, guess what? You're the young person, you're in charge of marketing. We already learned that marketing is the third thing I told you, branding, marketing. You got to understand who your brand is, and you want to go and tell somebody they're brand new to your club, hey, you're in charge of marketing, might not be the best thing. Start with something small and take it further out. Focus on authenticity. Yeah, sorry, my bad. I don't know where this mouth gets it sometimes, but yes, increasing engagement, help others take ownership. That's the biggest thing. Help them take ownership. I love how you said, Dawn, and ask somebody to be a part of it, but sometimes take it to a smaller part, because sometimes when you tell them, hey, you're in charge of all of this, just say, hey, can you make sure we get one press release? And take another member and say, hey, can you use your phone to take pictures today? Take another member. Hey, can you go ahead and call the radio station? Hey, take another member. Can you stand in front of this store and hand out these flyers? You're not only educating them how to do it. It can be intimidating if they feel like the task. Yeah, if the task is too much and it's out of their wheelhouse, you meet them where they're at. Who here likes to make phone calls? Who here likes to write letters? Who here likes to get on the internet? Everybody takes a piece of it, and this way, not everyone does it all together. It's all a piece of the conversation. Everybody everybody gets to take ownership of it. This way, everyone feels like they're partners. But who all are you engaging? If you want to increase participant engagement in your things, who all do you reach out to? Here's a quick one. Club members. You want to reach out to the partners. Say you're doing a project. You want to have the people who you're doing a project with sit there and promote things as well. So you want to reach out to the project partners. You also want to reach out to your funders and your sponsors. You ask all of them. You give them pieces. Say, hey, when you put this out, can you make sure the Rotary symbol's on it too? Or here's a flyer. Can you share this out? Or when you share something out, share about the sponsor and you at the same time. Say, hey, thank you so much for company ABC for sponsoring this event, and tag them in it in your post. But you're constantly making sure everybody is a part of it. That's how you increase engagements to your events. And lastly, with the Rotary Action Plan, and I'm not sure how much time we have left, so if someone could let me know how much time we have left, that would be great. And the Rotary Action Plan is to increase our ability to adapt. Rachel said
about 7 minutes left.
Perfect. Rachel said it a little earlier about AI. How many here have been using AI in their marketing or their publicity at all? Anybody? Raise your hand if I can see, so I can see it. Any of you? Okay, great. So to adapt, how can you use AI in your marketing? Go ahead and write it in the chat, please. I use ChatGPT to help with captions for social media. Good job, Leah. I use it when writing press releases. Brian. Anna just said, yes, I'm using that. Shayna says, AI has helped me come up with some content for social media. Write requests for inviting media. That's a big one right there, inviting media to the events. I don't know how many times that I've written stories for my community, and people, when I don't write a story, they ask, well, why didn't you write something? Well, I didn't even know it was happening. A lot of times people have the newspapers, they don't know that your event's happening unless you tell them that it's going on. Canva, that's a great one. So I'm going to slow down a little bit. I have 7 minutes left in this. I would love for Rachel and John to chime in about any of the 4 areas I talked about: increasing impact, enhance participation or engagement, expanding our reach, and also the ability to adapt. Anything you would like to chime in on, John and Rachel?
Honestly, I'd love to chime in on the comments. I think everyone has a really good grasp of what's needed. I think one of the important parts to hit on is there's always room for improvement. There's always room for growth. There's always room for more opinions, more suggestions. I love the inclusivity piece because I think no matter the age we are, we always feel that part that we don't know what we don't know. And if somebody else does and you feel awkward not knowing so, that feeling, it doesn't matter if you're going to school for the first time or you're a pro. It's helpful to have somebody educate you because chances are you have something to offer as well. I would also say that the importance of continuity and consistency are the 2 C's that we use regularly once we figure out what a strategy is. And I think it just sort of further sort of supports what I said about the importance of taking the time in the beginning to really figure out what the message, what the mission, what the identity is, what hasn't worked. But even more importantly, figure out who is your competition and what are they doing. There's nothing wrong with that because if you're looking at what they're doing, they're your competition for a reason. And you can take that to a different level based on what you know and what message you want to get out.
Coach, you scout competition every day, right? Every week when you're going to go at the game. You scout competition, so why not? But I think the thing is that there's so many things that you have to kind of hone this down, and including everybody is one thing, but including people that maybe don't have the best ideas, we have to make sure that we include them, but also help them understand why maybe it's a better idea to do something else. We had a client that's a very high-end retirement community, total healthcare community. And they all believed that they should have a TikTok account because they needed to hire younger people. And they were half right and half wrong. Yes, it was cool to have a TikTok account to show everybody how active all of the seniors are there because they're extremely active. But that's not going to hire a 20-year-old to come in and serve food or work in services somewhere. So no 20-year-old is going to follow the name of that account, because they don't want to see what they're posting. But getting the people that work there that are that age and giving them information to put on their TikTok where their friends are watching it, because that's about someone said in here, you have to target the audience, right? If we're targeting 20-year-olds to come in and take part of Rotary or Interact or these kind of things, we have to go where they are. And it doesn't mean that they're going to follow the Rotary Club's TikTok, Snapchat, whatever it is. It means that we have to have people in that age group talking about it. And that's what a lot of people refer to as influencers. So you have to know the targets are so diverse now just because of age, geographics, and interest. Interests are so diverse right now. So you just have to make sure you're targeting where they are. In the old days, you would put a YouTube video up and watch it and hope 1,000 people would watch it. Now you have to put a YouTube video up. The people that are following YouTube will watch it, but you have to also put it on Facebook so the people that like Facebook will watch it. And then you have to put short little bits of it on Instagram so the people who don't like the other two will still watch it. So it's a lot of work, but it does take time to create a strategy as to what you're trying to accomplish, what the message is, and what your brand is representing to that particular demographic that you're targeting. So you can't come up with one idea and say we're going to be Rotary is cool and think that the 65-year-olds are going to respond to the same message that the 20-year-olds are going to respond to. It has to be different. And the channels of the message have to be different. That's why we're talking about radio versus social media versus videos, those kind of things. It's complicated today.
So just to recap, to make sure that we're all on the same page, and thank you so much, John and Rachel, for all of that. And I know we're going to have a question and answer session shortly. But remember the Rotary Action Plan. I ask you all to go back to that when you start thinking about anything and everything you're moving forward to do. We must increase our impact. How do we do that? When it comes down to publicity, when it comes down to what we're doing, we have to understand who we are, and what we do. You have to educate your team, pull people who are the people in your club who are always saying, well, we need to get this out. Well, pull them in, sit them down and say, hey, why don't you join my committee? Because we need to figure out how to build a better brand for us. When we think about expanding our reach, we have to branch away from just thinking we're going to post it on Facebook and that's going to be enough. We have to share more information and get it out in various ways. And don't leave that up to one person. One of the first things my club did to me years ago, you're young, you can do it. It's very, one thing is like, okay, well, great, they see a use for me, but that wasn't the reason I joined. I joined because I wanted to make a difference and an impact in my community. And if I was only going to be behind my computer, it wasn't going to be a lot of fun for me. So eventually I was going to get burned out and quit. So I had to find different ways to still be involved. So I asked you to build a committee within your club so it's not only on one person. Expand your reach in knowing that you must hit all the channels. Podcast, TV, radio, start inviting media to you. When it comes down to enhancing participant engagement, help everyone take ownership. Don't just say, hey, you're in charge of this. Say, hey, can you take this? What's everybody's strong suit? Ask them questions. Also, get the people who are watching your stuff, getting them to share what you post. Emailing your friends, texting your friends, asking them all to take ownership. Like, oh my goodness, look, we're doing this big thing and here we just got all of our tickets. Oh, by the way, come and meet me over here to buy our tickets. I don't know, find different ways of getting everyone involved and help them walk through it. Include your partners, include the funders and the sponsors also when it comes down to engagement when you're talking about your events. And increase the ability to adapt. Our ability to adapt. So adapting means that, we have to think that not only we're on social media, don't be afraid of using AI. Don't be afraid of talking to other people and inviting new people into the club to, participate in what you're up to. But the biggest thing is adapting right now would be understanding that AI could be your friend. It is a first draft. It is not the final. If you decide to use any of the ChatGPT or anything like that, understand that that's just a first draft and you're to review it and see it, make sure that it's in your voice. But the next I think the next webinar will be about AI. So we'll leave that for then. So right now, does anybody have any questions for myself, John, Rachel, or anybody else on the public image team?
There were a couple of questions in chat, Felicia. I do want to mention, Joe actually had a really good comment I wanted to make sure people saw in the chat before we go to the questions. He mentioned that they play some of these webinars, I think is what he was referring to, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, at their board meetings and have these conversations, this dialogue about public image and the things we're talking about tonight with the members as well, so that everybody kind of gets engaged and feels empowered to help carry the story. So kudos to you, Joe. I thought that was a really cool comment, and I think that's a really good idea to, get the leadership engaged as well with what the public image team is doing. But one of the questions that Shayna had, it's kind of geared around the public image team, and she wanted to know, let me pull it up here, essentially just how the clubs are dividing up public image, how they're dividing up the committee, and then once you have your public image committee, your chair, your team, how are you empowering those team members to actually do the work so it doesn't fall back on the public image chair? All on one person. So I don't know if Felicia, you wanted to take that or?
You can definitely go ahead. I saw Dawn unmute, so I know I've been talking a lot. So, and Joe Obridge is the one who made the comment, and Team Felicia. Okay, Joe. Hashtag I see you. Joe's in my district.
I think one of the things is a lot of times people just want to be able to see in how they can help. And I do think that that's where the public image plan for your club can be really helpful. Like I said, I literally put it into Chat GPT and then tweaked it to make sure that we met all of the qualifications that were needed. And so when I was able to then share that with the club board and then with the club, people say, oh, I can do that line. I can do this part. And so again, I think it's someone does have to do the work behind the scenes to actually lay out what the plan is. And then just keep revisiting the plan and celebrating an announcement who was able to help with that and reaffirm and to give recognition. So I think honestly, it is being able to kind of help people to see what the roadmap is. But I would agree with Shayna. There is someone who still has to be the heavy lifter. There is someone who has to set the plan, call the meeting together, reaffirm what the plan is. And that is just part of the business side of Rotary, but also have it in mind of, okay, so who's coming after me? Who's got that skill set and who gets energized by pulling things together?
I
Yeah,
love that you.
I would agree with that completely. I think it's, go ahead, Felicia. Sorry.
I was going to say, I love that, Dawn, because what happens is you have, so I came from both worlds. So I'm one of those people who I can see the whole plan in my head and I can just go out and execute it. And then what happens is I'm executing it and I feel like I'm by myself because no one's coming along with me and no one's helping me, or they're just like, okay, let Felicia do it. So then what I started learning was I need to, if I can show everyone, here's how I lay it out. Here's plan A, B, C, or this is what we need to have done. People are more likely to raise their hand to be with me. So I learned the hard way of, not sharing the entire thing and not knowing I can lift the whole load. But sometimes I just did it all myself because I can get it done quicker by myself. But if you do it that way and you have that mentality, you're not going to grow Rotary. You're not going to create the biggest impact you can, because as long as you, even though you can do it, you must, if you share your idea with everyone, it will definitely increase the impact. So what I would really suggest doing, like, here's one of the things I did. I did a car cruise for our area. I broke down, I need a cleanup crew from 4 to 5. I gave 1 hour. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to clean up. Someone couldn't do the entire day to volunteer. If I say, hey, I need people to volunteer for the car cruise, no one's all going to, they might get 2 or 3 to say yes. But as soon as I broke it down, is 4 to 5, I need a half hour of someone to clean up beforehand. And then I have someone to come here to break it down. Then I have someone to come in. I need them to do this part or that part. When you show it in pieces, people are more likely to say, yes, I'm a part of it. Yes, I will raise my hand. It will be 100% raise, not like the little, okay, I'll do it because no one else is going to do it. It's always the same 5 people. Well, those same 5 people are not breaking down the plan. So it makes it in smaller bites that I can digest it. You're telling me to drink out of a fire hose versus giving me a little hose so I can sip. You got to give me a little bit so I can, I can see the whole buffet. I want to do so many analogies. No one's smiling. Rotary, you got to smile more. You have to make leadership fun, because if you do not make leadership fun, no one's going to stay. This is how things die out. You have to sit there and say, okay, I want to be a part of public image. You want to be a part of public image? Make it fun for me. Make it fun. If you want someone to come in here, entertain me. Put some music on, do some, well, I'll be honest, with me, it's always food. But with other people, it might be something else.
Well, I'd like to add one more point to that, Felicia. A lot of Rotarians in many clubs, it's hard to find people who have the specialty of web design or social media marketing. We don't have a lot of people in Rotary clubs who have this forte, and that's okay. You don't have to have a webmaster doing the website. Obviously, it's great if you can find somebody in your club that does it or recruit somebody. You don't have to have someone that's super proficient at social media manage your Facebook page. You can empower them and train them to do the job as well. And a lot of times there's Rotarians who want to participate, but they have that learning curve. And so helping close that gap and teaching them, we have a ton of webinars on how to create content and how to use social media channels and how to run an email marketing campaign. And so educating them and providing them with the tools to do it successfully will also help you divide the workload as well, versus putting it all back on that one person who knows how to do it and who has done it for years and does it really well, but they can mentor new people as well on the team. So always keep that in mind when you're looking
I
for
need to ask one more question, Susan, and thank you for sharing that. And Dawn, thank you so much for saying that the Rotary Action Plan is the best framework there is that's out there. I love that. And I love sending birthday cards and a sympathy card and just something to let people know that you're remembering them. That's that marketing part and engaging with people. I know we only have a couple minutes, but I would love to know, what role do each of you play in your Rotary Club? If you can just throw that in the chat, because I would like to know, like, who do we have the majority of here? Are you guys PI chairs? Are you, presidents? Like, who all do we have here?
And Caroline is ready to come in too. I saw her hand go up.
Yeah, I wanted to just make one comment. Is as a web designer and as the one that is apparently doing all the magic, I need information, and I need that information from my club members, because without any information, without any pictures, without any content, I'm totally worthless. So you can ask your club members, get me information, throw anything at me, I'll make it nice and bring it on, which will relieve my kind of work, because now I don't have to search for that. And it will also involve other members.
I love that, because every day you sit there and like, give me content. John and Rachel both said that they have content. They provide content. Like, why do you turn on the news? Because you want content coming to you. Why do you pick up a newspaper? You want content. Why are you looking on Facebook? You're getting content. Content is queen or king. I don't know. It's one of those, but it's the key. That's what you want. You need content. And what is content? That goes back to increasing our impact, helping educate your club what content is. And I see the majority of the people here are public image people, presidents, charity, good press, good people here. I love that. So that means on your end, if you're the public image person, the chair, one of the things you want to go back to your club is helping them understand something very basic, is what is content. Let them all know that, hey, all of you possess possibly a cell phone. One of the things when I go out and do my talks, I ask everybody to pick up their phone and show it to me. All right, now you're all public image people. All of them. Text me, tell me, send me a picture. A lot of people they might not want to do that. Okay, well, what can you do to help us get our name out more? But the whole thing is helping everyone understand it. At the very beginning, you cannot go into engagement, reach, or adaptability if you cannot help your own members understand how to increase the impact. And it has to start with understanding who they are as a club. It starts at home. It starts within.
Thank you so much, Felicia, and thank you to our guest speakers and the team who helped put this webinar on, and to all of you guys for joining. Just a reminder, this webinar was recorded and it will be available at elevaterotary.org within 48 hours or so. I'm also going to send a recording out to everybody who registered. So if there's someone else in your club or your board members or anyone else who could benefit from this, please feel free to forward that recording on. And remember to save the date and look for information coming out about our first webinar after the new year on January 23rd on AI and ChatGPT and how to use all of these cool new tools to help you on your PI team. And then give us your feedback. The December task is really all about what you want to hear about and how our team can assist you. So that December citation task is up now at elevaterotary.org. So please tell us what you think. If there's new topics you want to hear about, we'd love to know it. And we hope to see you guys in January. Have a happy holidays. And thanks again for attending. Please reach out if there's anything we can do to assist you.